Alright, hey everybody, so this is Josh Bruce and we're going to keep plugging away on this schema library, and basically, like I said in the last video, I went ahead and put in an error message so you can see eightfold schema type person does not have property image. So we're all good there. And there it is, in case you want to see that. So yeah, time to keep on trucking. So one of the things that I was also looking at is how do I handle something like multiple items, like, so for example, here we have sort of these website links, right, to Twitter and LinkedIn and that sort of a thing. And basically, I wanted to know what inside of the schema could I use for that, and near as I can tell, it's the sameAs, right? So it's a URL, but this says URL of a reference, so on and so forth. But it doesn't say that I can use multiples. Now I did find one source that says, if you want to use the multiples, like with opening hours and things like that, then it's a comma delimited list, and that you can do the same thing with social profile links, right? So basically same as, and then do this. So it becomes sort of an array of objects, specifically of URLs. So so I think that's what we might end up doing here. So of course that means we need to add same as inside the list, and I did check URL is not a thing, it's a data type, and basically it's derived from text. So I think we're good there. And so that should give us kind of what we need for these, right? Because we've got the image from thing, surname, or family name. I think it's family name. Yeah. Family name. Yeah, so I think we're good there. But, well, same as, we wanted to be able to take an array. I think we'll just pass in the array. I think that'll work. So next is the event, because I think we're going to do these events as well, and we can get into the other ones. In fact, this will probably be the last video that I do on the schema library, unless you ask me for it. So if we come back up here and we go to down here, event. All right. So now the event it's sort of fractal in nature, right? So because an event can have multiple sub-events, and so let's go ahead and come over here, and we're going to say new file, event. I probably should have just copied and pasted from here. So it is a thing, so it needs to extend that. It's going to get the properties, and we're also going to get the create. So event properties, this thing properties, and then this event properties. Huh. I'm starting to wonder if we need these. So this properties, right, because this properties is going to go all the way down. Oh yeah, no, we're doing it for multiple inheritance. Right. Never mind. So let's come over here. We're going to duplicate this. We're going to call it events. Call it event properties. And right. So this one's starting to get a little bit more interesting. All right, and we also have sub-event. So let's come over here, and I think this is when I went to Agile Midwest, so we'll use mine as the guinea pig. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, but I'm going to call it event test. And don't need to do that anymore. I want to make sure we can get a person. Don't need this. Don't need that. Don't need that either. Okay. So now if we run our tests, call to undefined method. So we come over here. Static public function event new event. Now if I start creating some of these and end up getting sort of standard issue things that are always there, right? Like a person will always have a given name or something, then I might actually start building out this constructor a little bit better, or a little bit more, so that way we can reduce how much code we're actually writing to get where we need to go. All right, so there we go, cool. Now let's see, so function test has main event. Because I don't think, okay, so there is something called a super event. And so the question is, how do we do this? And that identifier is just a unique identifier, right? Because so here's the use case. So Eightfold practitioners sign up to give a talk at Agile Midwest, and they might have multiple talks. So within Agile Midwest, which is 2 days or something like that, 2 or 3 days, from like 9 to 5, basically the talks are going to be from like 11 to noon, right? It's basically going to be 40 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. And so those events basically would have a super event of Agile Midwest, right? So for example, the one we're going to do, my talk on speed versus agility, it would be an event that has a super event of Agile Midwest. Or we could also say Agile Midwest has sub-events of all of the talks that we all gave that year. So let's do this. Main event has sub-events. So we'll say event, schema, event, this, or rather, event, sub, yeah, so come up here, we can do talk, schema, event. Now, what do we need? What do we need? So about, and that would basically be, is that different than, whoa, hello. Nope. Still nope. Yeah, all right, so title, no, it'd be name, right? Name, alternate name, okay. Okay, so the name of my talk was speed versus agility, right? The about would basically be a talk on the difference between going fast and being able to adjust. Right? So that's the about. The actor is going to be a person. So let's go ahead and create Josh equals schema person given name Josh, and I'm not going to fill it all in, but you get the idea. And I'm going to say actor is Josh. Attendee, audience, an intended audience. All right, that might actually be beneficial information. Audience, Agilists, Scrum Masters, product owners, and developers. Yeah. Composer, the person or organization who wrote a composition or who is, no. Contributor, no. Director, no. Door time. The time admission will commence. I might have to revisit that since we're already 15 minutes in. but basically, we've got a date time, and then we also have a duration, and then we have an end date. So go with what you will. Event status. An event status of an event represents a status. Thanks. Particularly useful when an event is canceled or rescheduled. So event canceled, event postponed, rescheduled, or scheduled. So this is an enumeration type. Oh, so this is just an enumeration. So basically, we would just put an instance in there? I don't know. Funder, nobody. In language, the language of the content or performance. That's actually, I'm gonna put that in there. I think this is going to be something that we'll appreciate having. Is accessible for free. Flag to signal that the item, event, or place is accessible for free. Nope. Location, so we've got a place or a postal address, or it could just be text. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say location, St. Louis, Missouri. Right? Oh, you know what? No. This is not, this is my talk. This is not the event. So this location actually should come down here for the main event. And then mine, I think it was like room 1125 or something. I can't remember. Maximum attendee capacity, that would be interesting. Offers, an offer to provide this item, for example, sell a product. Okay. Performer, a performer at the event, for example, a presenter, musician. Oh, okay, so actor is not the right. Can be associated with individual items or with a series, episode, clip. Okay, so performer. And now I have a 90s rap song stuck in my head from, what's his name, Snow. Informer. Previous start date recorded in. No. Remaining attendee capacity. Okay, so that's cool. As people are checking in, you can say we got like 2 seats left. Review. Oh, okay. So review of the item. So if somebody says like that was a really great talk, I could put it under that talk. Sponsor. Nope. Start date. The start date and time of the item. Sub event. We don't want the sub event here. We actually want that later. Translator, we're not going to do that. Typical age range. Okay. I think that would be part of audience, but no, let's leave it out. Work featured. Work featured in some event. Exhibit in. Oh, okay. Yeah. Work performed. Work performed. Nope. We're good. Additional type. Nope. Alternate name. Description. Is description different than the about? Oh, I guess it could be. So for this talk, for example, what I do is I, through I use storytelling of the development of the U.S. population clock to illustrate common interactions seen in Agile software development. Okay, identifier. So again, if we wanted to do a unique thing, main entity of page indicates a page for which this thing is the main entity being described. Oh. Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right, so that gives us the talk. So now we should be able to say sub event talk. So now actually, let's do this. What is it? What's it called? Identifier. So let's go ahead and say identifier equals 1, 2, 3, 4. So then if we do event sub event, and we should be able to say identifier equals event sub event identifier. This assert equals expected 1, 2, 3, 4 actual identifier. See what happens. Stuff exploded. All right. Event does not have the property name. So it should. Huh. It's not. Okay. Should have a lot of these don't have property things. Event does not have about, and about should be on thing or not. I'm going to close this because we shouldn't need it. And event properties, let's say about. Event does not have property performer. It actually does. Event does have audience. It does have in language. Location. Description. Is description part of thing or yes? So description. Use of undefined constant description. Oh. Helps if you put the quotes in there. Alright. Event does not have identifier. Identifier is part of thing. Event does not have sub-event. So one of the other reasons that I like building out these libraries, even if it seems like somebody else has already done it or something like that, is because it helps me to sort of really break down and start understanding the underlying technology, right? And logic as to why people are doing some of the things that they're doing. So even if, 2 days from now I totally destroy all of this, it's sort of nice to have the knowledge, right? All right, so it looks like we've got most of what we need to be able to build this page back out. I mean, there's probably going to be some other things, but I think you get the idea of what's going on here and what the pattern is going to be moving forward, right? Basically, we're going to have a trait, and it's going to have a list of stuff. Now, I will say, I think event has. Does event have? Because I think they did a really good job of like removing duplication, and making sure that stuff was in the right place. But if we run into any duplication, we might have something a little bit weird. But all of the properties for any one of these types should be unique to that type. And so we shouldn't really run into any odd patterns outside of what we already did. And I'm not going to build out the whole library right now because I got other things I need to do. But basically, yeah, we've got a trait, we have a method, and then in our classes, what we do is we just make sure to create a sort of a merge method, basically, that will always be called by the superclass. And yeah, because this is the thing that actually does all the work, right? The calling and the setting and the getting and everything like that. And so it needs to have a way, and this is what I do in PHP HTML as well, but it needs to have a way to call into its subclasses to say, hey, can I actually do what I'm supposed to do, or to get some data about them that is unique to them. So I think that's a really good solution, and if you want a video that just talks about that, leave a comment and we'll see about making that happen. So now I'm going to go back to developing out the eightfold.pro website. I did some sketches and think I know where we're going to be heading with this. I actually need to create another form as well, because one of the things that we're doing is we're putting together sort of a raffle of, you sign up. It's a beta sign up, let's be clear, but you sign up, and basically when we are ready, we'll raffle off a certain number of accounts every month, or every week, or however often we decide to go and do the thing. So going to need another form, which should actually work to help balance out the design a little bit. All right, with that said, I want to thank you for making the time, and I'll see you around.